All right, what up, y'all? My name's Tom Patton. Welcome to the Income Property Starter Pack. I wanted to make a course specifically on real estate. I've been getting a ton of questions about it, and it was actually one of my first investments that I ever made, and probably my favorite asset class when it comes to assets that appreciate and produce cash flow on a monthly basis. So we'll jump right into it here. Why real estate? Because you have so many different flows of income. Like, say you only make money from your job, right? That's only one thing. If you lose your job, you're done. Or, stocks they provide dividends and they go up in value, but that's pretty much it. Real estate has so many different ways to make money in it, and these aren't even all of them, but these are a few that we're going to go over today. Cash flow, we'll start out with that, is just the difference between your income and your expenses. So say you have a house where the expenses are $1,500 a month and it rents for $2,000. You've got $500 a month in cash flow. That's pretty basic. Appreciation is the amount that the property goes up in value every year. So you don't get that paid out on a monthly basis like you do with cash flow. But you definitely make a ton of money when property goes up in value over time, and that's in the equity. The loan pay down is, so you say you have a mortgage with a bank. The loan pay down is the percentage or the dollar amount every month that your tenants or you are paying down every month. So real estate is pretty unique because you can buy an asset, get a loan on it. So you borrow money to buy this asset, and then you get someone else to pay the loan for you. There's not really anywhere else that you can do that other than real estate. So it's one of my favorite things. The tax benefits, super long list, but there's things like the 1031 exchange, where if you sell an investment property and you reinvest the profits into another property, you won't get taxed on it. Ability to buy assets under market value. So with stocks, they have this thing called the market price, right? So say you want to buy Apple and it's $300 a share. There's no way to buy Apple stock that day for under $300 a share. With real estate, it's not like the stock market where there's just a set value. You can go make offers on properties and get one accepted way below market value, so you have instant equity. So you buy a $300,000 house for $280,000. You just walked into $20,000 worth of equity, which is pretty cool. That's what I did on my first property. Garbage to gold, which is basically buying houses or buying real estate that needs work, fixing it up, and then making a ton of money in the equity. Typically, you go for like a 5-to-1. So on mine, I spent about $5,000 in fixing it all up, paint, carpets, flooring, all that good stuff, and we made about $25,000 in equity. So that's a 5-to-1 return. That's pretty good. House hacking. This is also what I did on my first deal. So I rented out the other room that I had to one of my buddies, and he paid the mortgage for me, and I was able to live for free while at the same time, having my loan being paid down, making money when the property went up in value. So all that good stuff. There's so many different ways to make money in real estate. That's why it's one of my favorite asset classes. So we'll start with how I started, actually. So I bought a condo, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo for $220,000, and it needed work. It had water damage, it had bad paint, nasty carpet. So I came in, me and my girlfriend actually painted it all ourselves, and then we hired people to do the flooring and the bathrooms and all the water repair and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, we paid about $5,000 for all of it, and we ended up making $25,000 in equity. But yeah, house hacking is when you rent out one of your rooms or multiple rooms to help you pay the mortgage, which is crazy. I mean, most people's biggest expense, is their housing. So if you can cut that out of the picture, we were paying $1,700 a month in housing, and then after we bought this place, or bought the place that the condo, we were living for free, which allowed us to save a ton of money and reinvest a ton of money instead of putting it into our rent payment, basically. Contractors, real estate agents, banks, these are all people that as you as you buy property, as you work through it, you're going to develop a team, which is really going to, catapult your success, because all these people are essential. And honestly, when I first started, I thought it was going to be super complicated. I thought it was going to be super hard. There was so much to learn. And by no means am I an expert or anything, but after doing this a couple times, it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It's kind of one of those things where you think you find a good deal, you make an offer, and you pull the trigger, and then you just learn as you go, which is exactly what I did. And I wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, we found a tenant, which is one of my friends. Worked out really well. Apartments.com gives you like a free. Basically, he pays us every month through Apartments.com. There's no fees or anything like that. They also have free lease agreements. So if you want to create those, go ahead and do Apartments.com. And then yeah, so we'll talk about how to get into it. Start with the banks. So first, before you do anything, you want to go to a bank and see how much they'll approve you for. That way you get an idea on your price range and basically, yeah, your price range. Because there's a lot you could, you may think, oh, a $500,000 property, I can't buy that. But you'd be surprised. There's a lot of different banks, and the interest rates are so low right now that they're lending out money like crazy. So yeah, start with the banks. Say they approve you for 300,000. Then you go to an agent, whether you know one or you find one, or you have a family friend, whatever. Say I'm looking for a house. I'm approved up to 300,000. So then they'll walk you through a bunch of deals. After you find one you like, you make a few offers, and then one gets accepted, and then you pull the trigger. So if you're not all into house hacking and you don't want to rent out one of your rooms to friends or other people to help pay the mortgage, FHA Loans will help you with 1 to 4 units. So basically you can buy a duplex, a 2-unit, a triplex, a 4plex, whatever it is. You can use this FHA loan to basically, say if you want to buy a duplex, you buy a duplex, you live in one side and you rent out the other. They pay the entire mortgage. You live for free again, and this time you don't have to rent out any of your rooms. You just rent out the other unit. And FHA loans let you do 3.5% down, which is pretty crazy. Like, say if you have a $100,000 property, you're only putting $3,500 down to control a $100,000 asset. That's pretty nuts. That's another thing you can't do with stocks, is this type of leverage. So yeah, this is a super easy way to get into property for little money down. Again, talk to the banks about this. FHA was an option for us. We also qualified for a 3% down conventional loan, so we went with that. But if you're not, then FHA is a great option. Again, so say you have a $100,000 property, you put $3,500 down, you can get the seller to cover the closing costs, so you're only in it for $3,500. You buy the duplex for $100,000, and now you are basically living for free. You're renting out the other unit for only $3,500. You now have no rent payment. Your tenant is covering your mortgage, so you're living for free, and you're able to reinvest that other money that otherwise would be put towards rent. And you can do that up to 1 to 4 units. So you can buy a 4plex, a 4-unit apartment complex with only 3.5% down. So say you buy a $400,000 4plex. I mean, you can buy that for super cheap, 17, 18 grand, something like that. And anybody can save that, save up for a couple of years, buy the 4plex. And usually with more units, with 4plex, say you live in it and you rent out the other 3, you might even be making money every month and living there for free. So, but again, talk to your banks, build up your credit when you're young, get a credit card, start paying it off, get a 2-year work history, because that's going to be what you need too. So if you've worked at the same place for at least 2 years and you have decent credit, you're probably good to go on pulling the trigger when it comes to real estate. So go to the bank, see what you get approved for, then talk to an agent, go find some deals. We're going to talk about the benefits of leverage. So this is where real estate kind of beats out the stock market, because you only need 20% down on an investment property. If you're going to live in it, you can do as little as 3%. I know the VA loan is 0%, so if you're a former military, you can get a loan for 0% down, which is crazy. But if you're not going to live in it and it's solely an investment property, you can get into it for 20% down. So $100,000 house, you can get into it for 20 grand. And real estate will appreciate 4% a year. So it goes up, say you have that $100,000 house, it's going to go up about $4,000 a year. And if you only put 20% down, you put 20 grand down, you make 4 grand every year. That's 20% a year just on the appreciation. That's not counting the cash flow or the loan being paid down or the ability to buy it under market value or adding value or the tax benefits. 30% returns, 40, 50% returns are not uncommon at all when it comes to real estate. And if you're getting a 30% return every year, you're buying property every year or every other year, whatever it is, you're doubling your money every 3 years. And that's just unheard of in the stock market. You may get 10% or whatever, but 30% a year is pretty nuts. So we'll move on to a real life example. So I picked a random city in California, and the purchase price, I think it's right here. Yeah, so 375 grand. It's in Sacramento. Little house, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. So if you're going to buy this, you need 75 grand down, which again, if you're not going to live in it and you want solely as an investment property, you need that 20%. So, save up for a few years until you have the 75 grand. Assuming the numbers work and you go through it, this is just an example. Say you like the house and you want to buy it. The monthly cost is $1,700 and it rents for 2 grand right here. So you're looking at $300 a month in cash flow. Which is pretty good. So that yearly appreciation, that 4% on that 375 is going to be $15,000 a year, and you're only putting 75 grand. So there's your 20% return already. That's not counting your $300 a month cash flow. Your loan is, your mortgage here is principal and interest right here, $1,200, $1,300. So at today's interest rates, about a third of that is going to the principal. So that's how I got the $400 a month principal plus the $300 a month in cash flow. You're looking at making $700 a month from this property, without including the appreciation. So, and then you take that 15,000, you divide it by 12, and then you add in the 700 every month, and then multiply that by 12. You're getting a $23,000 return just in year one, and you compare that to the down payment of 75 grand. That's a 31% return. I mean, that's just unheard of, and that's buying the property at the market value. I mean, if you were able to negotiate and get this thing down to like 350, I mean, your returns are 60-70%, which is nuts. I mean, that's not going to happen in the stock market. Now, it does take a little bit more work, but if you're willing to put in the work, and I wasn't too hyped up on real estate until I pulled the trigger, and then I discovered I really liked it. So you never know. Pull the trigger and see what happens. You'll learn a lot, and the returns are astronomical when it comes to income property. All right, so we'll talk about value add property. This is what you really want to do. You want to buy properties that need cosmetic work. So the foundation is good, the roof is good, stuff like that. But the stuff that just looks bad, it's exactly what you want. And that goes back to the listings too. So this has like really nice pictures and stuff. If you find a property that has really crappy pictures, you might be wanting to go check it out, because that means a lot of people will have looked over it. You might be able to find a sweet deal. So yeah, paint and carpets, vanities, new flooring, bad kitchen, that's what you really want to look for, because you can negotiate that down, because it'll bring the value of that down like crazy. So if you can buy it low, hire people to fix it up, which is super easy. For me, my real estate agent had a bunch of contractors, so I told her that I was looking to fix this place up. She gave me the name of a bunch of people. I talked to them. I found one I liked, and then we negotiated on a price to fix it all up. And I paid him 5 grand. He fixed it all up. It looked really good, and we rented it out. But yeah, those equity returns, you want to aim for about a 5-to-1 ratio. So say you put in $10,000 worth of work, you want to make about 50 grand in equity, and that's pretty standard. 1031 exchange. This is one of the crazy tax benefits. If you say you buy this property, right, for 375 grand, and you hold it for a while, after a few years, now it's worth 475 grand. You go and sell that, you now have $100,000 in capital gains. But if you put it into this 1031 exchange, and I'm not a tax advisor by any means, but talk to one if you want to, or CPA. But that $100,000 of capital gains, if you put it into this exchange and use it to buy another property, you won't pay any taxes on it. That's another benefit of real estate compared to the stock market. There's nothing like that when it comes to being able to defer taxes. So we'll talk about the Burr Method. This is where your returns can become 100, 200% in one deal. These are a lot more work, but if you're willing to put in the work, you can get astronomical returns. So the Burr Method, I don't know, you guys may have heard of it, but it's called the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So basically you buy a property that needs work, you hire people to fix it up, whether it's paint, carpet, new kitchen, whatever. You fix it all up, then you rent out the unit, and then you go back to the bank and you say, hey, I want to pull money out of this deal. They'll send out an appraiser to say, all right, so this is the new value of the property now that it's all fixed up. And if you did it right, it'll be a lot higher than what you did before, and you'll be able to pull out all the money that you put into this and use that for another deal. So you buy a place, fix it up, rent it out, refinance. Now you have all that cash that you put into this. You can use it for another one. You have zero money in the deal, but you now have a house that's being rented out and making money every month. That's an infinite return. If you have no money in the deal and it's making money every month, that's pretty nuts. So some things that I learned when it comes to real estate are bigger pockets. They have a crazy good selection of videos, whether it's on YouTube or they have a bunch of books. I've read a bunch of them that really helped me when it came to determining what to look for when it comes to real estate. Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of my favorite books that really changed my mind on finance. After I read that book, my finances completely changed. So if you haven't read that book, go ahead and check it out. And then YouTube has a bunch of free resources when it comes to real estate. But yeah, we'll go back to this deal just so I can run you through a bunch of them. Because this is not just some, I didn't have to look for 2 hours to find one that made sense. So we'll scroll down here. Here's another house in Sacramento as well, 3-bed, 2-bath. This one's for $329. So this one looks pretty good. There's not really anything that we can add value to here, at least from what I can tell. You can see the bathroom has been redone. The carpet looks good. New paint. So this is at market value, I'd say, except for the yard. You'd definitely be able to add some value with the yard. So $330,000, 3-bed, 2-bath. See what the market rents for it are. And you can use Rentometer or Zillow, whatever, to find good lists on what properties will rent for in that area. So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area of Sacramento will rent for about $1,800. And all your expenses here are a little bit less than $1,500. So again, you're looking at $300 a month cash flow. Your principal and interest on your loan is $1,100. So you're looking at almost $400 a month in loan pay down, plus the $300 a month cash flow. That's $700 a month between the cash flow and the loan pay down, and then the 4% a year on 329. I bet this one's like 35% a year when it comes to overall return. So again, that's nuts. And this one, I mean, there's not even a whole lot of work to do. Maybe you buy it and you put in new grass or whatever, and you find a tenant and you rent it out. This wouldn't be a hard deal at all. And on 329, we're looking at about a $66,000 down payment. So, maybe you save for 2 or 3 years and then you buy something like this and you'll start getting 30% returns. But we'll look at a couple more. And you guys, this is Zillow, by the way. You guys can do this anywhere. So do it in your area and find one that you like, one where the numbers make sense. We'll go one a little bit tighter on the deal. I can just tell by the price point that this one's going to be tighter, but this is a lot nicer house too, so you're getting a better chance for appreciation here. Nice hardwood floors. Lawn looks decent. So this one's 400,000. A little bit bigger house, 4-bed, 3-bath. And we'll go here. Yeah, this one's actually pretty good too. So your total monthly cost is going to be about 1,800, and your rent is 2,100, give or take. So you're looking at $300 a month cash flow. The mortgage is 1,365, so over 400 in loan pay down. Again, that's pretty close. That's $700 a month between the two of them. And then go down here. We'll look at the down payment, about 80 grand. So if you're just looking to buy a place, at least in this area, you're going to need 60, 70, 80 grand. But again, I mean, if you, this is solely for investment property. I mean, if you wanted to buy this house just to live in, say use that FHA loan, that 3.5% down, and you're looking at about a $14,000 down payment. I mean, you can save that up pretty fast, and then, you know, rent out a couple of the rooms or one of the rooms to a friend, get them to pay your mortgage, and now you're living for free, basically for $14,000 out of pocket. So, and then after that, you now don't pay rent anymore. You're able to save all that money and, you know, put that towards another property. And then you can pull money out of this deal as well. There's something called a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. You can borrow money against the equity you have in your house. So say you have a $200,000 house and you owe $100,000 on it. That means you have $100,000 in equity. The bank will let you, they will lend against like 80% of that. So you'll be able to use $80,000 of that. You'll borrow that and use it to be able to buy the next property. And that's where the returns are crazy, because that's money making money. I mean, that's not you going out and making 80 grand. That's you pulling 80 grand in equity out of your house and using it to buy another property. So it's pretty nuts. So yeah, we'll just go back to the top and run you through again exactly how to get started. So start by talking to the banks. Save up a bunch of money, whether you want to buy it as an investment property or you want to buy it to live in it and maybe house hack, rent out a couple of the rooms. You're not going to need very much money out of pocket to do that. So start building your credit. You want that 2-year work history. So even if you don't like your job, but you've been there for a little while, just stick it out until you hit that 2-year mark. Then go to the bank. You say, I've got a little bit of money. I've got a 2-year work history. I've got decent credit. They'll approve you for, you know, anywhere from whatever it could be, $300,000-$400,000. And you go talk to your agent. You can find them online. You can find them by family, friends, whatever. Say, I'm approved up to $400,000. Maybe you want to do the duplex. You want to buy a 2-unit. Say, I want to buy a duplex. I'm approved up to $400,000. Then they'll send you a list of properties. And again, you can look on your own too on Zillow. Make a bunch of offers. I'd recommend offering below, say this is $400,000. Maybe I offer $385 and say the lawn needs a bunch of work. They say okay, and then the bank appraises it at $400,000. You only paid $385. You just made $15,000, just in instant equity, which is being able to buy assets under market value, which is pretty nuts. And then you close. Then you sign the paperwork. You get the loan. The property is yours, and then you can go find a tenant. Property management is probably going to be your best friend when it comes to being able to find tenants and deal with maintenance of the property and stuff like that. They'll typically take about 10% of the rent. So if it rents for $1,000 a month, then it's going to be about $100 a month that you're paying the property management company. But they'll deal with all the tenants. They'll deal with collecting the money, dealing with maintenance and stuff like that. Then you have a buffer, right? So you don't have to deal exactly with the tenant. You just deal with the management company, and then they deal with the tenant for you. Or if you want, you can do it. You can just manage on your own. So yeah, that's real estate, man. And there's a whole lot more to real estate, but that's just the little starter video on to get you fired up, and if you're looking for ways to get into it. And that's basically what I did. Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you have any questions, go ahead and DM me or send me a message, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.